kind of like a circle. Like, right in the middle is just the two of you, and then you have different rings.
Yeah.
And there should be certain people that should be in inner rings and certain people that should be on outer rings. Here we go. Welcome back to the UMS Together podcast. We are so glad you guys are here. We're the Roots, and today we're going to be talking about community, basically.
Okay.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're talking about friends.
Friends. Friendship community.
Yeah. The people you hang out with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Other than each other.
Yeah, we do a lot of that.
Yeah. Well, you should see each other a lot if you're married.
We do a lot more than most married couples.
I know, but you know what I mean. And
Yeah.
you don't know what I mean.
No, I know what you mean.
You should, if you're married, you should see your spouse.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
1 minute.
Today we are dog sitting in Noah's parents' house. So if you hear barks or nails on the ground, that's what it is.
Go to bed.
Hi, Paisley.
Come on, let's go to bed. Go to bed. Go lay down. Now, lay down.
And we got him.
Lay down. Puppies.
I am still feeling very...
Oh gosh.
Oh gosh.
Earthquake.
I'm still feeling very tired today from... We've been dealing with a sick puppy for a few days.
Our baby, he was sick all night. Not last night, 2 nights ago.
Just throwing up over and over.
Yeah, not good.
Yeah.
Couldn't keep food down all of yesterday.
Yeah,
So,
nothing. Not even water. He couldn't keep water down.
I know. It's so bad.
Yeah.
So, he's feeling better today.
Yeah, feeling good.
Yep. We're feeding him like little portions.
Yeah. He eats like every 20 minutes, just like a little spoonful of food.
Yeah. Some rice and some yogurt.
Mm-hmm.
He's spoiled.
Yeah. Anyway, Friends.
Yes.
Do you have any friends?
We love the TV show Friends.
No. Wrong topic.
We do have friends. We are not friend experts because we haven't had friends for long.
Yeah.
Since we got married.
How long? We had probably been married
2.5 years? 3 years?
Over 3 years. Close to 3.5 maybe before we actually got couple friends.
Other couples that were similar age to us that
Before
were our friends.
that, it was just us. And then family took up all the other time. And let me tell you, having couple friends is a game changer.
Yeah, it is.
Game changer.
We love hanging out with our friends, which is awesome. Just spending time with them, and they give us life rather than take it away and make us exhausted, which is amazing.
Yeah.
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 Having other couples that are your friends and having friends of the same faith is also super valuable because we can build each other up in that way.
Yeah. Friends in the same stage of life, too.
Yes.
I think is really important. Which, sometimes I feel like, oh, we're not in the same stage of life because some of our friends have babies and we don't. And, but we've all been married less than 5 years. Like, we're still in that stage. So,
Yep.
yeah.
We're all similar age, so we're doing similar things.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Yeah. It's been awesome.
Yeah.
I think an important part, too, is having, like, friends that are strong couples. You know?
Can you explain that?
I wasn't expecting you to say that.
Sorry.
I was hoping that you would go off of what I said.
Strong couples as in... Because, like, we have some friends that are strong-willed that are harder for you to get along with.
Yeah, more like having strong relationships, but also like,
They'll hold you accountable for things.
yeah,
that
they're
kinda what you're
strong
saying?
in their faith, they're strong in their relationship,
Yeah.
they have the same beliefs as us, like you said. Like, they're like, this marriage thing is forever, not like, oh yeah, this is what we're doing right now, but you know,
Yeah.
marriage doesn't last.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
I guess same mindset as us, or just, you know, strong, healthy relationships. They have healthy relationships with each other, and we can have healthy relationships with them.
Yeah. For sure. I get that for sure. It's, you hear all the time, like, the people you hang out with is who you're going to become.
Yeah.
Okay, bye. And it's so true. And if you're hanging out with couples that throw the word divorce around and
Even jokingly.
Yeah, jokingly, or they aren't faithful, or they whatever, right? There's a laundry list of things. If you're hanging out with people like that,
Yeah.
you're going to think that those things are okay.
Mm-hmm. Or even have a relationship with Christ.
Right.
That's hard for me sometimes, because I'm like, they always tell you to have like-minded friends, so Christian friends that have a strong relationship with Christ that we can use to support each other. But also it's like, aren't we supposed to be ministering to people, and those people you minister are the people that don't know Christ?
Of course.
And so I get like confused sometimes, like, shouldn't I have non-Christian friends?
I think we shouldn't be so close-minded that we just have friends that are Christian.
Yeah.
But for our main support group of couples that we go to when we are struggling with something, or couples that we choose to be with to be encouraged, stuff like that, they need to be of that same faith, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Just because that belief system is huge for us. It kind of is the basis of our whole life.
Yeah. It's kind of like a circle. Like, right in the middle is just the two of you, and then you have different rings.
Yeah.
And there should be certain people that should be in inner rings and certain people that should be on outer rings.
Yeah, for sure.
And people who aren't Christians can be in your rings, but they shouldn't be your inner rings.
Right. Yeah, and I would even say some of our closer friends have moved further in on some of our rings than maybe some of the family members around us. Mm-hmm. Just because there's some things there's things you don't share with your parents. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
And not that it's bad, because we have awesome relationships with our parents and our siblings and all of that, but we need people that aren't our family to do some life with as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's been interesting since we've done so much life with just our family and no friends, to see how, like, there are other ways that people live. You know, like, it's not like this is the only way. It's like, oh, some people do things differently. That's interesting. You know?
Do you have any examples?
Let me try to think.
Yeah, because,
I'm trying to think of some.
We just thought we were really weird by choosing to do some things different from both of our families.
Yeah.
And we've realized that's not a big deal to be different.
Yeah.
Because our friends have shown us they're way different from us, and they are doing life just fine.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of some examples. A lot of our friends, they have a friend group. They call themselves the basement dwellers because they all are newly married in the last few years, and they live in their parents' basements because they can't afford to move out yet.
Yep.
And we've been in that position before, where we lived in your brother and sister-in-law's basement. And I just remember thinking like, oh, this is terrible. Like, who would ever choose to live in someone's basement? And not that they're terrible. I don't want them to hear this and be like, but it's just hard to live with other people.
We love them, and they would agree with us in this. My brother and sister-in-law, we love them to death, and our relationship is 100 times better now than it was when we were living together, because there were just tensions that come up when you're living with people that aren't your family.
But it like got me in this mindset like, don't ever live in a basement. Like, it's not gonna be good, and it's always gonna ruin a relationship, and always gonna, these certain things are stuck in my mind. And then, not that these people are like, oh, I'm just gonna live in my parents' basement forever because it's wonderful here, but it's like, oh, it is okay.
It's
like,
doable. Yeah.
You need to do that, then it's okay, and I shouldn't judge you for it because I started like, oh, you live in a basement, I've done that, it sucks. Like, why would you ever choose to do that? But it's like, no, if that's what they need to do, it's okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. They've adopted us in. We live in a figurative basement because we're living on my grandma's property.
Yeah. So yeah, I think judgment is one of those things too, that it's like, because we have a certain way of doing things, because we only hung out with family and we're like, oh, this is how it is. It was so much easier to judge anybody else that did anything slightly
differently. Yes, for sure.
And I'm learning like there are just different ways to do it, and that's okay. I can do it different than you, and it's fine.
Yeah.
You can do it different than me, and it's fine, and I shouldn't judge you for that.
Yeah, especially with people around us starting to have babies. Realizing there's a lot of different ways you can go about doing that.
Yeah.
And raising your kids and doing all those things. It's really, from the outside, it's fun to watch for us. Because we haven't had that experience yet. It's like, well, we're getting ideas of what we like, what we don't, but we realize that everyone around that has kids around us loves their kids to death.
Yeah.
But they all choose to love them in very different ways.
Yeah. Parenting styles are different for everyone, and it's not like one way is wrong and one way is not, but everyone raises their kids a little different, and it's interesting seeing that and thinking about that for like our future, because I know I've been really close-minded before and thought like, once I have a kid, my life is over because my whole life needs to be dedicated to them now. Mm-hmm. And it's very close-minded, but like seeing how other people are raising their babies, I feel like, no, it's possible to still have your own life after you have a baby. Yeah. Like, I felt like I don't want to have a baby. We said 5 years after we got married when we first got married, and I kept pushing it back. Like, maybe we should wait 10 or even longer because I'm not ready for my life to be over yet. Yeah. But it doesn't have to be. You can still, you still need to care for your child, obviously.
Yeah, of course.
But you can still go out and be yourself and live your own life and raise kids.
Yeah. You can make choices that allow you to do that.
Yeah. Having your kid take over your life and that being your whole life after they're born is a choice that you make. It's not something that just happens.
Yeah. For sure.
That's another thing I've learned.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Got a little off track.
Anyway, the differences are okay, I think, as long as you have those similarities.
Yes.
That we're all Christian faith. We all agree that marriage is forever, like some of those those foundational principles that we all have and all share. Kind of like in our last podcast episode where we said people do marriage different. Some people do marriage differently, and that's okay, but there are a few things that it's like, this is the right way to do it, and there's no other way. Having kind of like that, like having foundational principles that we all agree on. Mm-hmm. And then, yeah. And especially knowing that we all have the same foundational principles makes it a lot easier to trust them.
Yeah. Yeah, something, another thing that having friends as a couple, one of the biggest things we've realized is just living life together. None of us were meant to, like, yes, we have our partner, right? Mm-hmm. And I love doing life with you, but I would go crazy if it was just us all the time.
Yeah.
And you would probably say the same, but we just need to be able to have people to go through life together that's not our family.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, we've seen a ton of value just from like really simple things that it's like, you have a lot of value from that. Like, yes, I get a lot of value from these really lame things that we do with people, whatever that may be.
Yeah,
right?
going out to eat dinner.
Right. It's like,
Or
we probably would have done a date night anyway. And it's like, but it's fun to be able to spend time with other people, build those relationships.
yeah.
And it's especially fun with other couples where it's like they can be talking about their relationship with each other, and you can pick up these little things like, I had never thought of doing it that way, or, well, let me give you a little advice on this because it may lead to something harder down the road, stuff like that. And so it's fun to really have those interactions
Yeah.
and just do life together.
Those interactions are very life-giving.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And recognizing that there's a lot of people have friendship hurt just from everyone does, it seems like.
Mm-hmm.
And so a lot of people are really nervous about making new friends and kind of being vulnerable. And it's really valuable to be able to recognize, okay, these people are safe and I can be vulnerable with them and they're going to accept me. They're going to encourage me, whatever that may be.
Yeah.
And really opening up to the idea of, if I need to call this person, they're going to be there for me, right? Whatever that may be.
Yeah.
That's our whole thing. It's crazy to me that we weren't able to make friends for the first 3 years because we love being available for people.
Mm-hmm.
And we tell almost everyone, like, we are some of the most available people you'll meet because we own our own business and we kind of can manage our own schedule and do what we want for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
And so we want people to recognize we are here for you, whatever that may be. We are happy to drop stuff and come help you with whatever it may be.
Yeah.
Right? So
I think one of the key words to pull out of what you just said was encouraging.
mm-hmm.
That's a big, I feel like, tell on how you know if someone really is a strong friend or not. Are they encouraging? Do they lift you up? Are they there for you? Not saying like, oh, they didn't answer my phone call today, therefore they're not there for me.
Yeah.
Don't like read into it that much.
Life is busy for all of us.
But if you can't answer yes to all or any of those questions, then you might want to consider if that's a friend you really want to keep in an inner circle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, maybe they need to move out a layer.
Yeah.
For sure.
Because I think that's how friends should be. They should be encouraging. They should be uplifting. They should be... What other words would you use?
Yeah. I do know.
Yeah. Now, I'm not saying that means there will never be conflict. Just having a relationship with anyone leaves the door open for conflict.
Yes. Most of the time when it comes to communication.
Yeah.
And how you guys communicate and being okay with other people not knowing how to communicate well.
Yeah.
Which is fine.
Especially, all of our friends right now, they're really close, really good friends, but they still frustrate me sometimes.
Yeah. I'm sure we do things that frustrate them. So
yeah,
you take the good with the bad with any relationship, right?
Mm-hmm. But it's learning how to recognize like this person really is like a true friend and I want to keep them in my inner circle. And so I need to figure out how to work this out or work past this.
Mm-hmm.
frustration, you know, to keep them there because they're important to me.
I agree.
Yeah. A true friend is important to you, but you are also important to them. I've had several friendships where it's like, I'm getting really worn out doing all the work because you're not willing to invite me to anything.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah. We all need to learn to recognize when a relationship is one-sided.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And not saying that that can't be a relationship you still keep in your life, but that might be another tell to wonder, do they need to move out a layer?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Because it just puts you in this position of being hurt more than you should be.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's like I continue to put myself out there and this person continues to blow me off or continues to whatever.
Yeah.
Right?
Or they don't even make an effort in the first place.
Yeah.
I'm the only one making an effort.
Yeah.
And I will say there are seasons of life where that's just going to happen.
There are, for sure.
And you'll notice that a lot more if you have a certain friend for a long time versus I just made this friend and they're acting this way to start.
Right. They're just probably apprehensive about you. They're just not sure. You're both trying to figure out how each other works.
Yeah. So I don't want to leave out grace. Like, you should have grace for people, but recognizing some of those red flags and wondering, not that I have to cut this person out of my life fully, but should I move them out a layer? And I have some friends like that where it's like, I would still call them my friends, but instead of hanging out with them every week, I now see them maybe once a year or, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Something else I wanted to touch on was if you hang out with the same group of people, right? Mm-hmm. Several couples, whatever, we have found that we get immense value we love all of our groups, but we get immense value from one-on-ones or two-on-twos, I guess, with individual couples from those groups, right? And we've especially been super encouraged when those couples have reached out to us and said, hey, do you want to do something? Mm-hmm. Because it's encouraging to us, like, wow, they actually want to hang out with us. They want to be with us, right? Yeah. And that's some of our insecurity of not knowing well how to do the friendship thing because we don't have a lot of experience. Yeah.
I think also it's been a trend that I'm the person that reaches out to make plans. And so it feels really, really good when someone else is like, hey, do you want to get coffee? And I'm like, you asked me? Mm-hmm. I didn't have to ask you. Yeah, like, you actually want to hang out with me?
I will rearrange my schedule just because you asked. Yeah.
And so I think that's part of it too. It feels really good.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
But yeah, we've loved one-on-ones with other couples and even like just going out with the guys and doing stuff with the girls, separately. Yeah. That was this week. Some of us guys met together from one of our groups, and we were like, we might have to do this more often because it's kind of fun to break out and have different conversations. That's not everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's certain topics that it's like, I would talk about this with just girls, but not with a bunch of other guys in the room, you know?
Yeah.
And so going into that, I think it's really important to have the couple friends, but also to have like individual friends.
Separate from each other.
Yes. That we can really connect with. Mm-hmm. And because, there are some conversations that you want to have just man to man or woman to woman. And it's not that I'm hiding it from you. Like, I'll still have this conversation with you, but I don't need everyone else's husband to hear this conversation.
Right.
Yeah,
we've had some moments. I don't think they were all bad, but we have had some moments in our groups where it's like, is this crossing a line? I'm not really sure.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I totally agree. There's a lot of value that can be brought out from that.
And that could be like from your small group, just hanging out with some of like just the wives or just the husbands, or it could be someone else entirely.
Absolutely.
Like I think it it doesn't have to be like we have this one group, we have to stick in this group and that's it. And if I need just woman to woman time, I need to pick someone out of that group.
Yeah.
But I think it's really important to feel like if I need woman to woman time, I can pick any woman out of that group. And they will be like, yeah, let's chat. You know?
Yeah.
So, I think it is really important to have those individual friends too, but there's also like a different level of, you have to be more cautious about crossing a line in certain things, I feel like.
Can you explain?
I think when you are away, I'm going to do from my perspective.
Yep.
So when a wife is away from her husband and with a girlfriend, it's a lot easier for her to rant about her husband or talk crap about her husband. And I don't think that that's healthy.
I agree.
I think it's important to have a friend that you feel comfortable with going to and talking about certain things like, my husband is doing this, and is that normal? Is that okay? Is that, getting another perspective, but not, my husband is just a piece of crap. Like, he won't even wash the dishes when I ask him to.
Yeah. Yeah.
Attacking their character is never okay.
Right.
And I think that's a lot easier to cross that line when they're not there. So when we're not in a setting where we're together, it would be easier for me to bash you. Same with you, with me.
Yeah, and you have to really build in those habits of like, I want to express this thing that I'm struggling with my friend, but learning where the line is of, I don't want to get to a point of gossip.
Yeah.
Right.
It's just something you need to be aware of, that it's easy to cross that line. So let's just be aware of it and try not to.
Yeah, for sure.
With that being said, when we're together in a group, the line that's really easy to cross is, I feel like humiliating your spouse or saying things about them that's gonna,
right.
not uplift them around other people.
So bringing up situations that may have happened between us.
Yeah.
And we, it happened, we moved on, but it's like, oh, this would be a really good example in this situation.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to use it in this small group setting. And we've had issues like that where we come away from a small group and it's like, I know that was a really good example of what we were discussing, but it made me feel belittled, or it made me feel like I screwed up.
Yeah.
Right. And so we just have to have those conversations before we go into those things so that we really can be on the same page. Otherwise, it is really hard to hurt each other.
Really easy.
Easy to hurt each other in that way.
I think it's just something where you also just need to be aware of where the line is, because you can't always talk about it before.
Of course.
It's easy to talk about it before when you're the one leading the conversation, but when you're not, you don't know what's coming up.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, like I find myself sometimes, I'll like do anything to get like a laugh, or I'll reach for it. And sometimes that means telling a story about you that's really embarrassing for you.
Right.
And it's like, you shouldn't be doing that.
Yeah.
It's
definitely
extra important.
Learning that line, and when the situation happens, right? Last time this happened, I made sure to bring it up to you, because I could have just chosen to bottle it up and just been angry with you.
Yeah.
But
is that really what she thinks of me?
Right. But the fact that I was able to, and it was something where I forgot to give you a gift for
birthday, maybe.
Maybe it was
right?
a birthday, right?
Yeah.
And so I just spaced it, or I thought the particular thing that you brought up was I wanted to buy backsplash so we could do backsplash in the trailer, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I know that you wanted something specific. And so I thought, you know what? I'm just going to tell her, can you pick something out? I'm happy to buy it.
Yeah.
But it then put this pressure on you, and we never bought it because
Yeah.
we never took the steps to actually do that.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was the example you brought up. And in the context we were talking in, it made me feel like I totally dropped the ball and I just don't ever get you gifts, even though you need gifts for your love language, right? And so it was a situation where I felt like I thought we had resolved this because we had talked about it. We had talked about that situation beforehand and kind of worked through it together. And I felt like we've already worked through this, but you're bringing it up again with our friends. And I feel like you're trying to pick out a scab.
Yeah.
That's what it felt like.
Mm-hmm. Where in my head, the point I was trying to get to is when gifts are a top love language for you, a lot of times it's really important to get a physical gift instead of someone saying, why don't you pick out whatever?
Yeah.
Because in my experience, it just never happens.
Right.
I never get to picking it out, and then it feels like a forgotten gift. Like you didn't get me anything that year.
Absolutely.
Because it wasn't physical.
Yeah, you would rather me get you a gift and get it wrong and we have to exchange it than, for the most part, than I make you a promise and don't go follow through with it. That's really what it is.
Well, it's not even you're not following through with it. Your gift is putting it on me to do it myself. And I don't.
Right. You don't want that.
Yeah. I don't want to do it myself. That's the point.
Yeah.
But because of that, I thought, an example would be really good here. And that was the first one I thought of. So that's what I brought up.
Mm-hmm.
And I just thought, oh, this is what we're talking about. Here's an example. Cool. And for you were like, seriously, you're bringing this up again? We've already talked about this.
Yeah.
And so it caused conflict because we weren't on the same page. And,
The challenge comes when, the thing is, we know our friends didn't judge either of us for that. And at least we don't think they do.
They didn't tell us
right.
They did.
And we trust them enough that it's not going to be that big a deal.
Mm-hmm.
But it still made me feel hurt in the moment.
Yeah.
And that's the point, is we just need to be careful of the things we choose to say around our friends, because our spouse's safety with us is most important.
Yeah.
Right.
It's really easy to just want to say anything in a situation that makes you look better.
Right.
And
you want to have the best story or the biggest laugh or the whatever.
Yeah, and a lot of times in order to make you look better, you say something that makes your spouse look worse.
Yep.
And so just being aware of anything you say in a group setting, thinking, is this going to be uplifting to my spouse?
Yep. And finding that line between the two of you and discussing it, like,
Yeah.
well, what do you think about this situation? Would you be okay? Because you asked me about a different situation, and I was like, yeah, that's not a big deal. But in your mind, it was bigger than the situation you brought up.
Yeah.
It was a bigger deal. And so discussing those things just between the two of you. So it's like, if we find ourselves in a situation, what do you think about this?
Or even after a situation happens, talking about it.
Yeah.
Discussing it together and
doing a debrief.
Yeah, just being honest. Like, what you said really hurt me at the time, and it made me feel really embarrassed.
Yeah.
Or me saying, I said something that I really wasn't sure was okay. Can I get your thoughts on it? Was that okay or was that not okay?
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like it's a lot easier to learn from experience like that versus prepping for the future, because you're not always sure what's going to come up, what's going to be said.
Of course.
So. Yeah. It's a good tip. Yeah. Man, Got some good tips in there.
Amazing. All the tips.
I think it's important to have friends to lean on and rely on, but I think it's also equally as important to make sure you are that friend as well.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which goes back to like the one-sidedness thing, but that we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
But it's so easy to be selfish. It's just inherent in our nature, and to think, oh, I need all these people to rely so that I can rely on. But it's like, can they really rely on you too?
Yeah.
Because you're not going to be able to build that close bond if they don't feel like they can rely on you back.
Yeah, and a lot of that
it's a two-sided thing.
A lot of that comes down to, like, if you schedule something and you cancel often on a lot of things,
Mm-hmm.
people are then going to just not ask you for things, or they're going to think, oh, well, they asked me to do this thing, but they're probably not even going to do it, so...
Yeah, they start to make assumptions in their head.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Following through with your word is hard.
It is.
Because, like, especially us in our situation, we want to commit to everything.
Yeah.
Right? We want to just say, yeah, we can totally help you with this thing and that thing and whatever.
There's only so much time in a day, though.
There's only so much time, and things that are more important have fallen behind because we overcommit.
Yeah.
So we're trying to learn how to commit to things well, like properly. Yeah.
How to know when to pick and choose.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think that all comes back to that Bible verse. I really need to learn some references, but the one that says, do unto others as you'd have done unto yourself.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not willing to be a supportive friend or be available, you can't expect other people to be that support for you as
Absolutely.
well. So.
Yep. Yeah, just because we just went through how people will just get tired of being trampled over.
And that goes full circle all the way back to finding like-minded people.
Yep.
You got to decide, I am going to be this kind of friend that is encouraging and uplifting, and so therefore I'm going to find other like-minded people that are like that as well.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a challenging space for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
And I would even say, if your friend group is the one that is going out to the bar every weekend and partying, you need to make a choice of, is this really giving me life?
Mm-hmm.
I know that seems preachy, but it's like, we need to be doing things that are best for us, best for our family,
mm-hmm.
and going out with the boys, every Friday night. Is that really best for your family?
Yeah.
But
then you shouldn't jump to extremes and say, I can't have guy time anymore. I only can hang out with my wife.
Yeah, I just can't be friends with you guys anymore, because that's not the point. Because what will end up happening is, if you bring it up to your friend group like that, and you say, guys, I really don't feel like this is healthy for me or my family, and I need to do something different. I love hanging out with you guys. I love all of you guys, but I can't do this.
But the easier way to bring it up is to say, my wife told me that I shouldn't be hanging out with you anymore.
Yeah.
That's attacking her. That's putting the blame on her. And that's one of those things where it's like, that's not uplifting, that we just talked about. But yeah.
Where I was going with that was whether or not they accept you in making that statement to them, mm-hmm. and you walking away, eventually they will, because you spoke those words to them and you were honest with them, what's going to happen is they're going to be attracted to the honesty, and they may start to recognize, you know what, maybe he's right, because I feel like crap afterwards, and my home life is not as good as I would like it to be, and whatever, right?
Yeah.
And there's a lot of good that can come out of that confrontation
Yeah.
if you're willing to have it.
And if they're not the kind of people who are willing to accept that, then that's another situation where you consider, are these people that really should be in an inner circle, or should they be moved out?
Yeah, do I need to be spending this much time with these people?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I feel like we covered quite a bit.
Yeah. Oh, that was the other thing I wanted to say. I feel like one of the things that has brought us the closest together with our friends is when we dive into scripture together.
Yes.
And
it's not like reading a whole book.
Yeah.
At once. It's like maybe when we meet, we bring up, hey, I saw this as the verse of the day today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's also not the only thing we can do together is read the Bible, because that's the healthiest.
Yeah.
We do just life together, whatever that may look like. But in life together, we will sit down and dive into scripture. And that point right there is where I feel like that moment is what brings us closer. Something I've realized. Because we're in 2 small groups right now that are really important to us. And they're both different. One has been more just reading out of the Bible, and one has been reading not a book of the Bible, just like a regular book.
Yeah, a marriage book.
And I found that the reading the Bible together builds the relationship stronger and brings you closer together than just a regular book.
Mm-hmm.
Not that the regular book is bad, but
no.
There's just something about having God in the middle of things that really makes it good.
Yeah.
You know?
For sure.
So I think that's important.
Yeah, that's a good point. I hadn't thought of it that way.
Yeah, so just making a point to, like you said, bringing up, I read this verse yesterday and it really stuck out to me, or asking, how can we be praying for you, because we really want to be praying for you guys.
Yes, and following through with that.
Yeah.
It's so easy for a lot of people and to say, yeah, I'm praying for you, and then it may just be you forgot to pray, but I don't know.
I forget a lot.
It's really hard for me to even tell people I'm praying for you unless like I just did, right? Because otherwise I'm going to forget.
I think that's a good habit though. Like making sure you actually pray about it before you tell them, yeah, I'm praying. Because we have a lot of people in our lives that often reach out and say, please pray for me, or please pray for this. And it's like, you have to reply praying, or else it's like, it feels rude if I don't reply, you know? It's like, what else am I going to reply? Like, okay.
Yeah.
Like that seems rude too. And so it's just like a habit, like you just reply praying and then that's it, but you don't actually do it.
The challenge for me is I just won't reply, whether or not I do. Often I do choose to pray for them, but that is more valuable to me than me replying to them and them hearing that I prayed for them, because I'd rather do it and not say anything than...
That's true. Yeah. And I think that's just something I need to work through. It's like, just because I didn't reply this one time doesn't mean that they're like, oh, she's awful, cut her out of my life.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, exactly.
Because, the actual act of praying it's what's the important part, not that you said you were going to pray or, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So. Awesome.
What do you think about where people should find their friends?
I think church is a good place to start.
I think church is a good place.
I would really encourage any couples, if they're not already doing this, but to get themselves in a small group.
Yeah.
With other like-minded couples.
This doesn't have to be a facilitated small group, as you know, especially if you go to church. It doesn't have to be a church small group.
Yeah.
It could be, hey, we sat next to this couple at church, right? And we chose to be a little vulnerable and reach out to them and invite them to lunch afterwards, right? And it can start from there, and maybe they know another couple in church, and they're like, oh, we would love to meet together
Yeah.
and go through this book or go through whatever. And you can kind of build those relationships organically.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be a structured study.
Yeah. But I would encourage people either try to get yourself into a small group, or if there is no option for getting into a small group, maybe you pray whether that's something that you need to be the one to start a small
Yeah.
group.
Yep.
And I think I really like the word small group, because it's just a group of people that often meet together.
Yeah.
And so you're able to really build those relationships because you're meeting often, not, oh yeah, we have friends, but none of them know each other, and we just see them every once in a while.
Yeah.
And it's just different because in a small group you can do life together because you see each other so often.
Mm-hmm.
Because we've also found, like, sometimes when, like, I have a friend that just got married and we get together with them, it's like maybe her and I get along, but you and the husband are like, we have nothing in common, you know?
Yeah.
And it's hard to, like, I don't want to force you to keep hanging out with someone that you don't connect with.
Yeah.
Same with, you know, me. And so having, like, a group of people that you can do life together and bond with.
You
and
can rely on them.
Rely on them.
Yeah.
And I think it's really important.
It is. For sure.
Yeah.
We love each other.
Yeah.
But our friends have leveled up our marriage.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. I would have told you before that your order of priorities should be God, your spouse, kids if you have them,
Right.
and then family, and then everybody else. But now I think it's friends and family might even be on the same level.
Yep. They certainly could be.
Like your inner circle of friends.
Yeah. Yeah, and for some people, you are much closer to your friends than your family, and you can rely on them a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
And that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
We have super unusual family relationships
Yeah.
compared to most people.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I see my brother almost every day.
I see your brother every day too.
It's just really unique.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Do you have any other action points?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Make
Well-
some friends.
Get some friends.
Yeah.
Because it's important.
Or else you're going to be isolated and mad at each other.
Yeah. And it's really easy when you're first married to feel like, why would I need anybody else? I have my spouse, I'm good.
Yeah.
And that becomes a really hard road if you continue down that path forever. Becomes
For
really...
There's a level of isolation
Yeah.
even though you have each other.
Yeah.
There's
becomes
definitely
lonely
yeah.
and
there
difficult.
is.
So even if you're like just married and you're like, oh, we're good, we have each other, I would encourage you to still take this step even if you don't feel like you need it right now, because I can guarantee you in a few months you will need it.
Yep.
And for us, 3 years was a really long time, and we had a lot of rough patches just from loneliness.
Yeah.
Being like, I am sick and tired of being around family all the time, but I mean, I love them, but seeing them every single day, but I don't have any other option. I don't know anybody else.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
Okay.
Because a lot of times family isn't all in your same stage of life either.
No, most of the time they're
Most
not.
of the time. Yeah.
Yep.
So,
All right.
okay.
Good enough.
Go make some friends. Have fun.
Boom bang.
Pow.
Bye.
Bye.